Motivation is not your teen's problem. Hi, everybody. My name is Graham Matthews, and as you know, I run Empowered STEM. Empowered STEM is an A-level course provider, and we provide A-level courses in biology, chemistry, physics, and maths for those students that want to enroll in medical, dental, veterinary, finance, and engineering programs at the chosen university in the UK. So today, parents, I wanted to come in and I wanted to talk to you about motivation, grades, and your teen. Because based on your teen's last mock results, you've probably been trying to fix their motivation. But would you believe that maybe you're fixing the wrong thing entirely? Because most parents, when their teen gets a disappointing mock result, they think to themselves, top 3 questions, well, how do I get them to work harder? Or how do I get them to be more motivated? Or why is it that they just won't apply themselves? And these are understandable questions, but unfortunately, they are the wrong question to ask your teen. And today, I wanted to show you exactly why these are the wrong questions to ask your teen, and more importantly, what to ask instead. So let me explain to you the false belief loop that parents get stuck in. It's this one. Parents have this belief, and I have this conversation with parents all the time after the teen has got a mock exam result that's bad, anything lower than a B. And it goes something like this. Well, if my teen was more motivated, then they would revise more. And if they revised more, they would get better grades. And it makes sense, right? And so in their mind, they've got motivation, revision, grades. But this isn't what the data actually shows. Now, this is the data. We have it at Empowered STEM. They've done studies on it. It's this one. Motivation is not what the issue is if your teen has a poor grade on the mocks. Because every year we work with students who are motivated, and yet they are stuck at a B. They're not lazy. They're not disengaged. They're working hard, and yet the grade isn't changing. And we also work with students who are not really particularly motivated, but they have an A or an A star, and they'll pass A-level biology, chemistry, maths with an A or an A star grade. And the question is why? Why is this happening? Why, is it that if a student is motivated, they can be stuck at a B, and if a student isn't motivated, they can still earn the A? Because motivation, parents, has nothing at all to do with exam performance. Systems do. This is the answer. It's the system that your teen is using, not the motivation. So why are these mock exams, why are they so important? Well, because if your teen has got the aspiration to be a doctor, a dentist, a veterinarian, work in the financial sector, be an engineer, well, then they need the A and the A star grades to be competitive candidates, right? And so there is a difference between a B and an A on the final exams in A-level maths and A-level science. But when the results arrive, the parents, unfortunately, they get stuck in the belief loop. What they think is, well, how can I get my teen to work harder? Whereas the better question is, where exactly were the marks lost? 2 questions, 2 completely different outcomes, 2 completely different places your teen can land. So what exactly do the mock exams reveal? Well, a mock exam let's get this one out of the way. A mock exam is nothing at all to do with motivation. It is not an indication of how motivated your teen is. A mock exam is an indication of their performance on the mock exam. And a mock exam paper, if it's properly analyzed, it can tell us something really, really specific. It can tell us which topics are weak. It doesn't matter if it's A-level biology, chemistry, maths. Where are the weak areas in A-level biology, chemistry, maths? What concepts are misunderstood? They kind of got it, but not at the depth that the examiner wanted them to have. Which question types are causing them issues? Is it the 1 marker, the 2 markers, the 6 markers, the 25 markers in biology? Or is it a timing issue? Are they running out of time on the exam? Now, the mock exam parents, think of it like this. The mock exam is giving us data. But the problem is that most families, most parents, they interpret the mock exam data emotionally. They say, oh my goodness, my teen has a C, a D, an E, or a U. Oh my goodness, what am I going to do? And so they see the grade, they feel the disappointment, and then they turn to the most obvious thing that they can think of, which is motivation. Well, my son, my daughter is not motivated because this is the most visible thing that they can see. This is the easiest thing that they can change. Well, let me change your mind on this one, because here's a simple example. Let's say that a student takes a mock exam and they've lost 18 marks. Let's use A-level chemistry. They've taken a mock exam on A-level chemistry and they've lost 18 marks. Now, one parent sees the grade and they go, well, obviously my teen's not motivated. It's a motivation issue, isn't it? They're not putting in the time, effort, and attention. What they need is they need yet another revision timetable. They need to put more hours in at the desk. They've got to pull their socks up, don't they? Whereas another parent may see it the way that we see it. Because when we look at a mock exam, we don't look at the motivation of it. What we do is we look at the mock exam, we look at the papers, and we ask, where exactly is the teen losing marks? So, for example, it may be they've lost 8 marks on calculation questions. Easy to do, but what this is, it's a method issue. It isn't a knowledge gap, it's a method issue. Or maybe they've lost 6 marks through poor exam technique. Your teen may have the right concept, they may have answered the question correctly, but not structured in the way that the examiner wanted it to be to get the full marks. Or, this is the common one, 4 marks could be lost due to command words. They were misunderstood. The examiner said, explain the concept, and your teen wrote down describe. Now, did you notice, parents, how not one of these issues was a motivation issue? Every single one is an issue which is fixable once it's been identified. Your teen, they don't need another revision timetable. They don't need to put more hours in behind the desk. They don't need to be motivated. What they need is that they need a diagnosis that they can see where they're going wrong and then put a plan in place so that they can fix it. This is what we do at Empowered STEM with the STEM Path method. The STEM Path method is our 4-step method that we use with the teens to help them get the A and the A star in A-level biology, chemistry, and maths. We start off with precision diagnosis. Precision diagnosis is this. We go through the papers that your teen has taken, could be the mock exam, could be tests they've taken at school, and we identify exactly where the marks are lost and why. Not assumptions, not a general sense that, well, A-level chemistry is a bit weak. Evidence from the paper itself. You can point to it and say, this here shows that your teen is having an issue with command words, or exam technique, or calculations. And so we drill down, we know which topics are weak for your teen, which question types are causing them issues, which exam skills are missing, which marks are within reach, but they're lost due to technique. Because until you know everything with precision, everything else is guesswork, isn't it? Then we move on to conceptual clarity. Now, conceptual clarity is this. Once you know where the gaps are, the areas that your teen needs strengthening on, we fix the underlying understanding. Now, this is important because what most teens do is this, is that they have a one-size-fits-all revision technique. And what they're going to do is they'll revise all the topics the same amount, and they'll probably spend most of the time on the favorite topic that they understand the most. And the weaker topics, they kind of get swept under the rug, don't they? So what we do is this, is that we address the actual misconceptions. Because what your teen does, now parents, if this is true for you, let me know. If your teen's doing this, they reread, it's passive learning. They reread the notes. They rewatch the YouTube videos. They memorize the mark schemes. And the misconception, the deep misunderstanding of something just sits there untouched and causing issues. So conceptual clarity, parents, means this. It means identifying the specific misconception that your teen has and resolving it. Not just covering the topics again, a glib overview, really going deep with your teen. So at the end of it, they have a solid understanding of the course content for year 12 or for year 13. Third step is strategic revision. Now the revision becomes targeted. Because again, parents, what happens is that your teen, they fall into a trap where they revise everything equally. Whereas what we do is we help your teen revise in a targeted fashion. Where exactly is the weak area? Where do I need to spend more time on? Where do I need to spend more time doing more past paper questions under exam conditions, drill and practice to really understand this concept, this topic? And we call these high yield questions. They're questions that we know if we can fix on your teen, all right, and the understanding of A-level biology, chemistry, physics, maths, then we can spike the needle. And Brenda Bouchard would say, you spike the needle. You can get to the next letter grade up. Because we use past paper questions and mark schemes in the way that the examiner wanted them to be used. Not just, you've probably seen your teen do this. They walk around with reams and reams of past paper questions. Now, quickly can they scribble down the answer with the mark book open and they're kind of looking at the answer keys? Yes, I would have got that. No, we don't teach that. We break them of that habit. But we use past paper questions as a deliberate tool for improving exam performance, especially in the specific areas that are costing your teens marks. And the fourth step is medical mindset. The medical mindset has to be, parents, the most important part of the entire 4 steps, because your teen may know the concept sitting at the desk. They may have done the past paper questions under time conditions, sitting at the desk. But when they walk into the exam hall, are they cool, calm, and collected? Can they perform under pressure? And this is what we teach your team in the medical mindset portion. Okay? Because what they need to do is they need to be able to perform in the sports hall or in the classroom with the clock ticking down. You know, in the sports hall, they have something like 4 or 6 clocks ticking down, and someone's always writing down how much time is left. And we teach them this, so that they become confident in their abilities and the skill of being able to take a test or an exam. But to do this, do these 4 things we talked about. It does require a specific relationship between your team and results. What I mean by that is this, is that a mark at the end of the day, parents, is just data. It's just numbers on a page. It's just a letter grade scribbled on the page and circled by the teacher. But it tells us where we are, not where we will finish. So students that learn to treat results diagnostically, take the paper, analyze it, figure out where they went wrong, what areas they need to improve on, rather than those students that take it personally. Oh, well, put all this time in it, didn't I? And I got a D. And they put the mock exam into the back of the 3-ring binder or the textbook, and they close it. The students that learn how to treat mock exams as a diagnostic tool, they build a certain sense of mental resilience, which is what they need in the actual examination. And it loops back in because they can see where they're going wrong. They can fix it using the steps that we mentioned, and then they can improve on the next test. They're not going to make the same mistake again. They're using the mock exam information as data, as information. And that, parents, is probably one of the most important things your team can do. Because if they shift from being emotional about the mock exam data to being diagnostic about the mock exam data, they can put a pathway together so that they're going to start having consistent performance. Now, let me tell you a story. Because parents always ask, well, Graham, is there a story about this one? Sure. Let me tell you about Sophia. Now, when Sophia came to us, she was a hardworking student, taking A-level chemistry, had a D at the beginning of year 13. Now, the easy conclusion, the one that the parents made, well, she's just not motivated, is she? I mean, Graham, she's just given up. And because she's given up, she's not motivated. Yeah, she's not putting the time, effort, and attention, is she? Well, we didn't have that view. The view that we had was, well, let's have a look at the mock exam and her exams from school. Let's look at it through our diagnostic lens. And when we did, we noticed something. Sophia was actually motivated. She was actually putting in the time, effort, and attention. But the issues coming from the exam papers, the mock exam, were exam technique, application, and performance under pressure. It wasn't knowledge. She knew A-level chemistry. It wasn't effort. She was putting in the time needed. And it certainly wasn't motivation. But once we identified these issues, and once we put a plan into place to help her out using the STEM path method, Sophia achieved an A-star in A-level chemistry, and she's now studying at King's College London to be a dentist. Because the breakthrough, it wasn't motivation, It was diagnosis. And as soon as somebody explained to Sophia what the issues were, how we could fix them, the grade skyrocketed up to an A star, which is where it should have been in the first place. So parents, what exactly can you do after your teen's mock exam? Well, what I'd encourage you to do tonight is sit down with your teen with an open mind. Do not mention motivation. Do not mention effort. Do not mention revision plans, study plans, organizational skills. Just take out the marked paper with them, the mock exam, and have a look. Go through every question. Now, I know parents, you may think, well, Graham, I don't know A-level biology, chemistry, physics, or maths, so help me out in this one. Okay, well, just go through every question. Don't look at the grade. Just look at the question itself and ask yourself, where were marks lost? How did the teen explain to you? Well, on this calculation question, it was 5 marks, but you got 3. What happened to the other 2 marks? Don't say in an adversarial way. As one of my coaches would say, Aaron Seaton, go in there with a white belt mentality and ask, well, explain to me why the 2 questions, the 2 marks were lost in this question. I don't understand. Or you see this mechanism question, I have no idea what you were talking about, but why did you only get 3? Or is this 6-marker question? 2? Why? All right. And so if you do that, ask these questions, filter it through 3 filters yourself. Is it a knowledge gap, a technique gap, or a pressure gap? If it's a knowledge gap, they don't understand the content. Okay, we can fix that. If it's a technique gap, they knew the content, but they couldn't execute it under time conditions. Maybe it was exam technique. Maybe it was a command words. Maybe it was a calculation error. Or is it a pressure gap? Now, the pressure gap is this one. Yes, they can do it sitting at the desk at home. But when it comes to the actual exam in the classroom or the exam in the sports hall, then it just falls apart. Okay. If you do that, what you'll have is that you'll have 3 categories which will help you understand more about your teen and what you need to do to help them earn the A and the A star in A-level biology, chemistry, physics, and maths than motivation ever will, because your teen will have 2 things. Number 1, an ally, you, on their side. They see that you understand, you're trying to help them out. But they'll have a plan. They'll have a blueprint to follow. So, parents, every year we see teens transform their grades and the courses that they take with us at Empowered STEM. It's not because they became more motivated or more smarter, or they started studying twice as many hours, but rather it's because somebody sat down with them, looked at the tests, looked at the mock exams they had, and identified precisely where they're going wrong and put together for them a blueprint, a pathway, if you would, to get them from the grade that they've got on the mock exam to the grade that they should be getting. Now, once they come up with this blueprint, once they come up with this pathway, parents, improvement becomes predictable. We talked about at the beginning of this live stream, it was motivation, effort, and grades. Well, the other one is the confidence-competence loop. Because once they start understanding where they went wrong and how to fix it, and they start getting more questions right on the weak area that they weren't getting right before. And because they get more questions right, all of a sudden the competence in that area grows and the confidence follows. So what happens is that rather than spiraling downwards, lack of motivation, lack of revision, poor grades, you start spiraling upwards, and your team will get the grade they should be getting in A-level biology, chemistry, physics, and maths. But it's one thing to keep in mind is this. The mock result that your team gets, it's not the destination. It's the map that they need to follow in order to get the A or the A star. Now, parents, if you're following me on Facebook, you're following me on YouTube, we host weekly live streams where we talk about tips and techniques and strategies that parents can use to help their teen be successful in A-level biology, chemistry, physics, and maths. And so if you're on Facebook, all right, follow us on Facebook so that you're given a notification of when the next live stream is coming up. Or if you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe to the channel and you'll be notified of when the next live stream is coming up. And you'll be able to look at all the previous live streams that we've done, an entire library. And something is going to be there to help you support your teen in A-level biology, physics, chemistry, and maths. Now, if you're interested in the courses that we offer at Empowered STEM, it's really easy to learn more about what we do. In the description on Facebook below the video and the description on YouTube below the video, there's a link. You can click on the link, you can fill out the form, and a member of my team will have a quick 15-20 minute conversation with you. And in this conversation, you can explain to my team member the situation with your teen, where they are working grade, say biology, chemistry, physics, and maths, where they are working grade, their predicted grade, the aspirational grade, what university they want to go to, what they want to do, doctor, dentist, veterinarian, finances, engineering. And you can ask questions about our courses. And we'll explain everything to you, how we work, how we get the grade shift. And we'll ask you questions as well. Because at the end of the day, it needs to be mutually beneficial. We need to make sure that our course can actually help your teen be successful in A-level maths and science. And you need to feel that we're a good fit for your teen and that we can actually help your teen be successful in A-level biology, chemistry, physics, and maths. So everybody take care, and I'll see you on the next one.